Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be talking about Michael Saylor and his price prediction, his idea of where Bitcoin is going. You can call it that, an idea. What his plans are is obviously investing a lot of money from MicroStrategies into Bitcoin as an asset, as a way to hold funds. You know, you don't want to hold too many dollars, and Michael Saylor agrees on that. Rather take his profits from MicroStrategy, buy Bitcoin, sit on it, and eventually profit massively. And that's what today's video is going to be about. We're going to be going over an article from Michael Saylor, not from him, but from CNBC, and talking about what he said on the price of Bitcoin, where it's going in the near term. Near term, obviously, in the Bitcoin realm. Could be a year, could be 6 months, could be 10 years. Well, we'll be going over his article here. But before we get started, you guys know the drill here at cryptollc.org. So we sell miners, we buy miners, sell miners, we build farms. Working on a farm here in North Dakota. Should be operational around probably December, January, around there. We just got basically everything pre-approved. Just looking to pass some rezoning in about a week or two. And then CUP. So if you're interested in getting yourself a megawatt, we do have that for sale at Crypto LLC. So we give you a pass-through rate on that megawatt. And we have a 0.5 cent management fee. So that's all you're going to be paying, just a pass-through rate at 0.5 cent management fee. Pass-through rate is very, very good price. So if you guys are interested in that, send us an email or telegram us in the description below. And before we get started, Bitcoin saves your wealth and Jesus Christ saves your soul. All right, let's go. So today's article is from CoinDesk, but it is from an interview he had with, I think it was CNBC or MSNBC, one of those. But here is a direct quote. Saylor appeared unbothered by Bitcoin's recent brutal run, which saw the price tumbling to about a 7-month low below 53,000 last week. He reiterated his belief that Bitcoin will now account for 0.1% global capital and will eventually rise to 7 of global capital, or a price of 13 million over the next 2 decades. So he thinks is going to 13 million next 2 decades. Got to make sure I'm taking the correct path here. There should be like a little road that leads me out of this division here and should take me down to the park. Let me see if I find that little road here. Oh, there it is. There's that little road. Get out of this division here and go down to the park. There we go. All right. It's a little connection here between park and little subdivision. Goes in and out. Anyway, back to Saylor. So he thinks that it is going to 13 million over the next 2 decades. So you might be thinking, well, in what world does Bitcoin go from 53,000? I guess it's 56 technically right now. 56,000, it could be 60 by the time I actually upload this video. In what world does it go from that price to even a million? I mean, how does it do that? How can it possibly go up that high? It's very simple. A lot of the liquidity right now in BTC is in other assets. So a lot of that liquidity is in real estate. A lot of that liquidity is sitting in Federal Reserve banks. A lot of countries are holding just straight cash as a reserve. I mean, you guys heard the news about the 500 billion that was taken from Russia. That money was just cash. It was just cash sitting there. $500 billion of cash doing nothing. Now you might think, well, if you take the 500 billion, even if you pump it into Bitcoin, You know, the market cap of Bitcoin usually rises to like what, 2 trillion. They haven't checked in some time actually what the market cap of Bitcoin is, but when the price is up, it's like around 2 trillion. So you're thinking, okay, well, if I put a $500 million into it, that means I'm going from, let's say, 2 trillion to 2.5 trillion. So you might start correlating that with the final price of Bitcoin. So if you're thinking, well, it went up 25% or it went up 50% in the market cap, then that means that the price went up 50%. But that's not how it works. See, that's not how it works. You're assuming that if you pump 500 billion into Bitcoin, you're assuming you're going to find $500 billion worth of sellers, right? You're assuming that if you pump that in there, you will get those sellers and they will show up and they will put their 500 collectively, right? The 500 billion into it, which is not true. They won't sell. So a lot of sellers will not sell. A lot of sellers will sell. But the fact that when you pump 500 billion doesn't mean you're going to get that same exact correlation with the increase in percentage. Not going to happen. So same thing here. If you take market cap, let's say 2 trillion, you put another trillion into it, it doesn't mean that Bitcoin went up 30%. Bitcoin's not going to go up 30% if you're going to pump another trillion there. There's going to be a lot of non-sellers. They won't sell. A lot of people in Bitcoin are holding Bitcoin long term, meaning that they don't care what the price is. They're going to maybe look at the price in 20 years. So they're going to put it in a trust fund. It's going to sit there. They're going to leave it for their grandkids. Let's say they have 1,000 Bitcoins. They have 10,000 Bitcoins. They're going to put it in a trust. It's just going to sit there, and maybe in 20 years they'll look at the price and see what do they want to do then. So that's the type of mindset a lot of Bitcoiners have, and you got to keep that in mind. So when Saylor says that Bitcoin's going to 13 million over the next 2 decades, yeah, that could totally happen. I mean, we at Crypto LLC think that that is a possibility. That can happen. And the reason for that happening is that if you anticipate that in the future more and more people will use Bitcoin, you see more and more countries start talking about using Bitcoin as a reserve. More and more countries are talking about using Bitcoin as a way to go around sanctions. Even the United States, where you have Trump showing up at the Nashville Bitcoin conference, a presidential candidate, an ex-president, showing up, one of the biggest economies in the world, showing up to a Bitcoin conference talking about how Bitcoin needs to be made in the United States. When you have that type of resonation, right, it's resonating with people, then we're talking about a much higher Bitcoin price. And again, going back to Michael Saylor's quote here, he reiterated his belief that Bitcoin, which now accounts for 0.1 of global capital, will eventually rise to 7 of global capital, or a price of 13 mil over the next 2 decades. So yeah, there you have it. So the price can easily increase to such a magnificent level. And one way that you can be a part of that is either you just buy Bitcoin straight out, which is a strategy you can have, or you can invest into Bitcoin mining, which is what we recommend at Crypto LLC, is if you invest in Bitcoin mining, because that way your price for a Bitcoin is cheaper than actually buying it. Now, of course, your plan for Bitcoin mining has to be more long-term. If you're thinking about just mining Bitcoin and you're thinking about what is the profit today, if that's the mindset you have, you will fail at Bitcoin mining. Bitcoin mining needs to be a couple of year minimum investment or a process. You have to think like that. You have to think, all right, I'm getting these miners at this price. I'm going to be mining at this rate, at this hash rate. Bitcoin goes up, here's my plan. Bitcoin goes down, here's my plan. You always have a plan, and your goal is to mine Bitcoin cheaper than buying it, right? So if you go out and you buy Bitcoin right now, you're going to pay around 56,000 for it, and your plan should be, okay, well, if I mine it, what's the price that I'm mining it at? Is it less than 56? Because that has to be your goal. Is it less than 56? Is it 50? Is it 45? Is it 40? Is it 30? What's the price that I'm mining Bitcoin at? And that's the goal here. Obviously, you want to make a profit and all of that stuff, but that shouldn't be your goal. Your goal should not be Am I going to take this profit and just spend it on my expenses? You know, I'm going to use this profit to pay for my mortgage or my rent. That shouldn't be the idea. It should be, I'm going to get this Bitcoin. I'm going to, you know, put it away. I'm going to wait for Bitcoin to go up. I'm going to have this strategy for expanding my farm, you know, things like that. So yeah, keep that in mind when you're looking into Bitcoin. If you want to buy it or mine it, we always recommend mining, as it's basically always better. You always get a better price at that. Well, that's gonna be it for today's video. Hope you guys like it. You know what to do. Like, subscribe, leave a comment. What do you guys think about Michael Saylor's statement here? Would you guys agree with him? You guys think he's crazy? You guys think, okay, maybe Bitcoin go to like 200K, maybe not, but probably not more? Or do you think, hey, but Michael Saylor's crazy, it's actually gonna go a lot higher than that? So what do you guys think? Leave a comment. And that's gonna be it for this one. And until next time, goodbye.